Welcome guys to Morning Coffee with AP. I got my man mug here, got the coffee rolling. Today I'm going to give you 3 tips to stop binge eating and start fulfilling your weight loss goals by still having the fun foods that you want to have. Stick around. Alright guys, so it's a big, huge problem when we're starting a dieting phase and we start to get cravings, right? That we do really good that first week, we start losing weight, we clean up our diet a lot, but I see that a lot of times we do what's called elimination. So if you stick around for this whole video, I'm going to show you the 3 tips I use with clients to actually stop the binge eating and then fulfilling the fun foods that you still want to have but still able to lose weight. So I want to take a step back though. This is the first episode of Morning Coffee with AP. I want to start making this a habit and getting back on YouTube by putting out the content. Something that's daily or every other day. But essentially what I've done is through my Instagram, if you're not following me, go ahead and put the handle here, Austin Paulson Fitness. But I post up polls, and also in the comment section for my videos on YouTube, I write down the questions that you guys have, and I want to start covering them in these morning coffee episodes. So if you have any questions, make sure to comment below. I would love to answer them. And then you can subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications. I'm going to be trying to upload these every single morning. Maybe you're laying in bed, getting ready for the day, you can listen, get on with your day on the way to work or anything like that. So anyways, let's dive into how to stop binge eating. So with clients, usually we're super motivated in the beginning, right? Maybe you've been in this position where you start a diet or you get really motivated from a video or something of sorts, and now you're wanting to do a weight loss phase, right? We want to get to the gym, we want to clean up our diet, put the chicken and broccoli and rice or whatever you think you need to put in there. But I strongly see that has a correlation to why people lose weight and then gain weight afterwards. After a couple weeks, they kind of either hit a plateau and then they start binging, or maybe at nighttime you do really good during the day, and then at nighttime you get there and the pantry's there and you start just going ham on whatever sweets that you have in the pantry, right? So a couple things. One, most people I see are not getting in the right amounts of carbohydrates. What that means is they will, the first half of the day, they will not have anything because they're trying to lose weight, and less carbs mean losing more weight for some reason to people, but that's not how it works. I see that carbohydrates are a very useful tool because that's our primary energy source, right? So we need that. And so if you ever notice the first week, if you start feeling low energy from dieting, if you start feeling like crap, that's actually not a good sign. That might be that you're not getting enough carbohydrates, or you're just dropping your calories super low because you cut out all the foods. You're just having really lean meats and just vegetables. So you're gonna start losing weight from that, and you've probably seen that in the first week on the scale. But then it's really hard to maintain when your energy levels goes down. You start getting cranky. You don't want to do anything. So to piggyback on top of that, once we get into that state of if this is worth it, right? Is this worth losing this weight to feel like this? We start getting those things, and then our friends are going out to eat. We get home, we see that our spouse made something for dinner that looks really good, but we can't have it because it's not on our diet, right? Well, all these things start happening, and then once they kind of build all the way up to the top of the mountain, that's when we binge, right? Because we're just like, you know what, screw this. We lost that weight in the first week. I'm sticking super good to my diet. And then the next week, we might not lose any weight, but we're still sticking really good to our diet, right? And then that is when we go in binge, because screw this, I'm not going to do all this hard work if I'm not losing weight. So a couple things. The first thing is not doing an elimination diet is what you're probably doing. And what I mean by that is you went from having a whole entire lifestyle of eating all these different types of foods, maybe going out and having a beer on the weekends or whatever, right? To I'm only going to have lean meats and vegetables. So what you did is totally eliminate all the donuts, the sugary stuff. You eliminated, the beer, you eliminated the whatever over here, and you went to just putting in healthy, wholesome meals to think, because you think that that's what it needs to take to get to your fat loss goals, right? Well, I'm going to tell you that the actual number one thing that you need to reach your fat loss goals is to understand how calories work, like how the calories within the food really work. And so what I mean by that is these foods over here that were tasted really good, really sugary, the reason being is why you gained weight or didn't lose any weight from eating those foods is because oftentimes processed food are really calorically dense, meaning the small portion that you're eating has a lot of calories in it. And the reason why you're losing weight over here with the wholesome food is because they're usually more nutrient dense and less calorically dense, meaning you can eat a lot, but there's really not that many calories. So then if we drop our calories down, we can eat less than it takes our body to sustain body weight, meaning that we're going to start losing body fat. So you're probably asking now, like, okay, well then how do I get to having less calories but still having the fun foods? This is what we're going to do, is having a mixture of both. That means that you can still have some fun food and still implement your wholesome food. And what that's going to allow you to do is control the cravings but still stay full and have less amount of calories to start losing body fat, right? So your journey of fat loss, I strongly suggest you being slowly transitioned from not just like all out having soda, Pop-Tarts and all this crap to just chicken and veggies, because you are not going to be able to sustain it. And the key to fat loss is to be able to sustain it over a long period of time and to implement something that doesn't take a lot of effort, because if it takes a lot of effort, it becomes another job, right? We're not going to want to do it. We already have a job. We already have other things, other stressors during the day that take up our time, and it just, we don't want to put more on our plate, right? So what we're going to do is, instead of just eliminating everything, we're going to take out a couple of things, whether that's that can of soda that you have during the day, or even if you have a can of soda but you switch from having regular to diet, that pulls out a lot of calories. But usually the binging happens because we take all the carbs out and then we start feeling like crap. So instead of taking the carbs out, we can take out a couple of the types of carb sources, whether that's high carbohydrate dense like pastas, or like sugary cereals, or candy and liquid calories like juices, right? And change that into not changing everything, but just a few of them, and replacing it with some vegetables, maybe lean meats. So what we're doing is we're combining it where we still have some tasty foods, but we have wholesome foods, bringing down our ultimate caloric intake, and it's going to help you start losing body fat, right? So the second tip is the mindset. Usually, oftentimes, is not in the right place. Meaning, if you go back to what I said in the beginning, usually we're driven by the external factors, external motivation, wanting to get to those goals that we have for fat loss or whatever we have, right? What that means is we see somebody else, or somebody tells us we need to change. But at the end of the day, if you don't personally see a problem and you don't personally believe in the vision of what you're trying to accomplish, then it doesn't matter. You're going to lose that motivation and you're going to give up because it wasn't as important to you, because it's not driven internally, right? And we've maybe noticed that when you have a job interview or something of sorts like that, you're super pumped about it, and you prepared for it, not because anybody else told you to, but because you really, really, really want this job. And so you spent the last month or whatever, you went through your resumes, your cover letter, you went through going to interviews now and thinking about what questions they're going to ask you and what answers you're going to give them and what skills that you can develop during the process to be the best at that job so you can become hired or whatever, right? But that wasn't somebody else or an external factor saying, this, and this. It was because you genuinely wanted to put in the work because you want the result at the end. It's the same thing with this. If you don't have that mindset as, you know what, my health is important to me, this is why, meaning why is losing weight important to me? It's going to give me more energy levels. It's going to give me more better confidence in the summertime, so I want to wear my bathing suit and go to the beach and spend time with so and so. It's going to help me with my sleep. All these kind of different factors can help me with my long-term health, to play with my kids when I'm older. All these factors are driven internally of your why, and those are going to be crucial for you in order to have more self-control over that binging, right? Because if we can't go back when we're wanting to binge and be like, well, I want to look like that guy, because that's only going to last so long. But if we remember why, you know what, I need to do this for my family, that makes it a lot more impact, right? To not go and just totally binge and have more self-control. Because at the end of the day, this journey most people think is physical, but it's really 80 to 90% mental in the way we go about habitual actions, meaning creating the habits. So that's the first two. The third thing, in order to stop binge eating, is to look at more alternative sources of those fun foods that you enjoy. Meaning a lot of people like chocolatey stuff, right? Or ice cream. Well, there's so much stuff out there now, and when today's society is, they blow proportion size out of the water of what you get when you order at a restaurant, order at fast food, or at the store. The serving size have been inflated. What that means is you're buying more stuff, and then you don't want to waste it, right? So you're going to eat all of it, and in that huge portion size now compared to back then, it's a lot more calories per that serving. Or it's the same calories per the serving, but you're eating a ton more calories because you're having more servings, is what I'm saying. So what we need to do about that is there's plenty of alternatives out there that bring down the calories, meaning instead of having, like, chocolate pudding is a big one for my clients, they love. Having the alternative of maybe sugar-free chocolate pudding dramatically reduces the carbs, calories, or there's certain maybe dressings, right? Some dressings have tons and tons and tons of fat in it, but then that's really calorically dense, right? But having something as simple as maybe pulling it back and having some balsamic vinegar, or finding different dressings that you enjoy, but just reduce the fat severely, that's going to pull back the calories a lot, bring down, or being potentially able to be in a deficit to start losing body fat. Like dressings, the foods like that, there's plenty of recipes out there if you type in like protein pancakes or this and that and the other thing. There's Kodiak pancakes instead of the regular kind of like Krusty's brand, that brings down the amount of carbohydrates per serving. And so what I see is those foods usually tend to taste essentially the same. Some people have different opinions on that, but what you're doing is you're allowing yourself to still have the foods that you like, but you're having an alternative by reading the nutrition facts in order to bring down the calories, and just being conscious of your total intake, meaning you're going to bring down your calories and potentially start losing body fat. So there's plenty of things out there. You know, Walden Farms is a great brand that's like 0 calorie. There's a bunch of sugar-free or like reduced sugar ketchups and barbecue sauces. Usually in the sauces and liquids and stuff, there's a ton of calories that people just don't think about. So that's my top 3 tips for when it comes to binging, to kind of take action or take control of that and to not allow it to prevent you from continuing your fat loss goals. So first thing is not creating an elimination diet. Having a mixture of some fun foods and some wholesome foods. You can make it you can start out with a 70-30, 70% wholesome, 30% fun. Then if you want to progress into an 80-20 rule, it just all goes through the process and adapting more of a lifestyle change by understanding calories and what they are, and start reading the nutrition facts. And once you get a good basis, then you'll be mindful of how many times a week you have some fun foods, or how many times a day, depending on the person. And that'll help you a lot with still controlling those cravings. The second thing is the mindset, the goal, the why, the purpose of why you're doing this, and becoming more mentally strong by having that always there. Every time you're eating or doing an action, that you got to remind yourself, why am I doing this? And then it becomes a habit, and then it becomes easy. But the first couple weeks, it's new, introduced to you, but after you've created the habit, it becomes super simple. And the third thing is finding alternative sources of the same things that you like, but maybe it just has a better macro ratio, or they have lower amounts of calories per serving, and going that direction to potentially lower down the ultimate or the total daily calories. So those are the 3 things. I'll put some links below of maybe some alternatives, some things that might help you guys out. Also, if you want more information on how to calculate calories, macros, how to go about creating a fat loss plan or a weight gaining plan, I'll link up my nutrition starter pack guide. It's a full course going over exactly what you need to do based on your body type, your goals, all that kind of stuff to really help you guys out with the nutrition aspect of things. So other than that, guys, like I said, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. I'd love to hear more questions from you, so go ahead and comment below. Follow me on Instagram. I do lives every day as well with more content just like this. But I appreciate you guys watching. First episode of Morning Coffee with AP. We'll talk next time.